1,200 shows thereabouts. You were on, I think, our third show. I'm not sure in between those two I've ever enjoyed one more than this. A smiling, happy, and healthy Bret Hart, a blessing to everybody in Canada and around the world that has followed your career and loved you so much in the ring. I got to ask you, you got pen in hand, because I'd imagine that's how you're doing it. You're writing a book, right? Not the coffee table book, which will be coming out as well, but the inside story, is that correct?
Yeah, I think I keep reading these different wrestling books, and I keep waiting for someone to write it like I am, and thank God so far no one has. And I've written, I think, one book already, and I'm working on the second one. And I'm just about finished the second, and eventually I'll finish a third one. I'm doing like a 3-part book.
So you've written a book that has not been released yet?
Not been released. Not been printed or anything.
So you say no one's done it the way I'm doing it. What is that way?
Well, I'm putting you right in my shoes. And I'm giving you the real inside.
Well, we call them teasers. Give me an idea of the kind of stuff you're talking about.
I'm writing it more like, it's very truthful. You know, it's not like anything else. It puts you in my shoes from the time I was very small, through my whole family, through my whole life. I grew up with legendary names like Skylo Low, and I watched Gene Kiniski wrestle, and Lou Thesz, and Pat O'Connor. I watched all the old stars, the great wrestlers of the 60s and the 50s. And to have watched even Gorgeous George, who I don't remember, but I mean, those were childhood memories for me, those kind of wrestlers. And you know, someone like Mankind or Hulk Hogan, they don't understand the history, and they don't appreciate the, you know, like Mankind might, but they don't really know. That's all they came into the wrestling business in a completely different time and different phase, and that I bring all that out, and I think I bring out my family, like growing up in such a strange, it was an odd life growing up with 12 kids in a world of wrestling that I remember.
I think most would accept that as being true. It was an odd life.
It's not a nasty book. It's not a, it's nothing. If anything, I've bared my soul. You know, I don't take shots at a lot of people. I take a few shots, but it's not a tell-all.
How about it yourself, though? Because, you know, one of the things that age hopefully does to you, to all of us, is that you get to look back and you say, you know what, maybe I wasn't all that. Maybe I made some mistakes. Maybe, you know, I was a lot more human than I thought I was at the time. What have you learned?
Well, in relation to writing the book, you mean?
In relation to your life, as you look back now, you know, the process of writing a book, which I've never done, and probably never will, because I don't have a lot to say. But when you look back with pen in hand, sometimes you're reflective. What you grew up on?
Probably my home life and with my wife and things like that. And those are probably the only regrets. And you know, it's hard to justify your behavior. You know, not that it's bad behavior, but it's like life on the road is something that you have to live life on the road to understand the life on the road. It's easy to criticize and pass judgment, but you can't. I don't think you can. I look at my life on the road and I go, all those years, I wrestled 23 years, and most of it I was away from home, maybe, you know, 300 days a year most of the time, and that's not including travel days back home. And it makes for a pretty tough existence. And on the road, my one rule was survival. Do whatever it takes to get home, and keep your mind. Don't lose your mind doing this stuff. And unfortunately, so many of my brothers in the wrestling business, not my brothers in my family, in the wrestling business, my peers, so many of them are dead today. And a lot of them, the wrestling business was so hard and such a grind. And I've said before how the schedule caused a lot of wrestlers to get hooked on painkillers and pills, and you had to get up, and you had to go to the gym, you had to take something to go to sleep, and I think that was part of the lifestyle. And I can luckily say, including steroids, I mean, I can say I stepped around all that, and I maybe got into other trouble, but the trouble I got into, I'm still alive. You know?
And we're happy to see that here today. Let us know your thoughts on all of the things that we do, and nothing we've wanted to do more than this with Bret Hart. Hey, Bret, thanks for giving your fans a chance to hear how things are going for you. It's got to be tough, but so are you. And that was from one folk, but you know what? Millions are thinking exactly that. More in a moment. The end of our second interview with Bret Hart. who so graciously agreed to give us this worldwide exclusive. Thank you so much for that. It means a hell of a lot to us, and I know to your fans across the country, watching you, looking so good, thinking so clearly. It's amazing. Great to see you.
I'm so glad to be here, really. It's a great opportunity for me to address a lot of things all at one time.
So tell me this. You said you wrestled for 23 years. You were forced to leave wrestling because of a concussion. You've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. If you could go back and turn back the clock, would you have done something else, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, I would somehow. I think I maybe would have swallowed my pride a little bit if I could do that. I mean, I obviously can't. But I always believed that my brother Owen's accident, if I'd been there, that would never have happened. And people don't understand. People say, "Oh, you shouldn't put that on yourself," but I can, because if I'd been there, like, Owen would come to me with everything and say, "Should I do this or should I do that?" And if he'd come to me with that idea, I would have said, "What are you, crazy? Don't put your life on the line for the." You know, it's funny when that documentary came out, the Wrestling with Shadows. I remember Owen was really upset about it. He loved the documentary, loved it, and came up to me and told me the only thing in it that bothered him is when I said something about, there was some line in the movie about, felt like I was, you know, it was like putting a gun to my head and pulling the trigger or something like that. And his exact words, he goes, "Wrestling business isn't worth dying for." I won't ever, and I was like, it wasn't a suicide kind of thing anyway, but it really bothered him how much it bothered me, what they did to me or what they were trying to do to me. And when I remember my brother Owen, I think he was so careful and so cautious. I don't know what he was thinking when they got him up there and did that with him. That's about the only regret I ever had.
About 20 seconds left. I just got to ask you, people want to know, this stage in your life, your health, are you happy now?
I'm getting there. I am happy, but it's hard with the stroke. I'm just getting back to where I was. I was happy the day I was riding my bike before the stroke.
Thank you so much for doing this, Bret Hart.
Off the record with Michael.